Look at the size of the forearms. We just saw Mike Piazza walking back to the dugout. It's a short stride. You talk about the bat speed, and really thick from the elbow down to the hands. Eric Karros takes it high, ball one. That's working with weights during the offseason. Strong young man, the National League's Rookie of the Year. 2-0 to Karros. One away. Hansen over at first after the leadoff single to right. RBI single, the first at bat of the evening for Eric Karros, his only hit.
Beck has been the type of guy that throws a lot of first pitch strikes. Hasn't yet to a hitter he's faced.
2-1.
Rod's wife may be right. She said that this is a team of destiny.
I like it. The 2-1. Karros rips it deep to left field. Bonds can only watch it, and it's a one-run game. The 23rd home run of the season for Eric Karros. Makes it now an 8-7 lead for San Francisco.
You know, once again, Rod Beck is getting behind hitters, and his fastball just doesn't have enough juice right now when he's behind hitters. This is the 4th home run he's given up in the last week and a half. Karros gets the bat head out and explodes on it. He's got to get ahead of the hitters so he can utilize the splitter and the slider.
Henry Rodriguez. There's the splitter. Strike one.
He kept falling behind. 2-0, 3-1. Didn't want to walk guys through the fastball, but they were just teeing off. Think of that ball Piazza hit.
Fouled off the foot of Rodriguez. 0-2. Well, now it's the ultimate for Rod Beck. He can throw the splitter. He hasn't really featured it all that much tonight, Dave. Four home runs in the last 6+.
Yeah, the tiredness showed by the fact he's getting behind hitters and then doesn't have enough when he challenges.
He has Rodriguez set up. Can he put him away? Yes, with the split finger. He goes with the split-fingered fastball, and there's 2 down. The Dodgers down to their final out.
Makes a difference when you can use the off-speed pitch.
And that one stayed upstairs pretty much.
Yeah, but it had good downward movement and the arm motion.
Bottom of the 9th, 8-7 San Francisco, and Corey Snyder lifts a fly ball deep to right field, but not deep enough. And the Giants stay tied with the Braves for first place in the West. Rod Beck with his 47th save of the season.
Joel, what a night for Barry Bonds. Couple of home runs, 7 RBIs. Will Clark knocked in the other. The big 3 went 10 for 13 with 2 homers, 2 doubles, 8 RBIs, and they needed every one on this evening.